tuned in to us. But we had a troll today that was just, that trolled both of our shows on our Facebook posts. And he thought he was being clever by saying, well, we just can't have any coffee on the coffee page, Facebook page. And he misspelled coffee. Now, literally, that's the title of our show is Coffee, which is spelled correctly, which is Coffee, in case you can't spell. But he literally misspelled it. And I was so surprised because it was like an inch away on your screen from where he misspelled it, spelled correctly. And I was going, that just tells you how dumb bigots really are. Yeah. And obviously kind of reset my thinking again about bigotry and hate and the alt-right, and whether it's anti-Semitism or racism or homophobia or transphobia or whatever, xenophobia or whatever wacky form of bigotry. It's all boils down to small-minded simpletons that their leaders, their best and the brightest, can't even pass a GED test, and are constantly having cocaine dripping out of their noses, and it is like getting kicked out of colleges, and just saying literally the dumbest things and standing for nothing. Their community stands for nothing, and now they're tearing each other apart, which is even funnier. But the kind of people that comment on a show, they're just the bottom feeders of the group, and just great to laugh at. They don't actually watch the show; they just comment on the titles and the promotional materials and stuff like that, because you can clearly their comments never match what the show was about, which is even funnier. And I think it's entertainment for our viewers, because our viewers just scroll past the comments and just hit play and watch the show. It shows our human side, because we usually hit them back with humor and make fun of them, kind of like Fetterman did with Dr. Oz, because it's so easy to do. But it's podcasting in America is different than maybe it was 3 or 4 years ago, when people, when their little cult leader was in office, because now they're defeated, and
they're just scrambling. They're scrambling to. It's bizarre. It's unusual. It's bizarre. But once again, you said it on an earlier show today. This is the best you've got. We're okay. This is the best you got. Yeah, I mean, this is like it is. That's a good. I like the way you looked at it that way, because it does make you feel half glass full when you say something like that.
Well, when your competition isn't real competition, and as long as you keep playing your game, and that's the one thing the Democrats, Christian and I are both registered Democrats, very involved with Democrat politics in our region, and keep up with it across the nation. And as long as the Democrats remember to play their game and not always have to be reactionary but proactive, as we saw in the midterms, we obviously did message better as a party than we thought we did. And clearly we're on the support of the majority of Americans. The majority of Americans support reproductive rights. We support, anti-racist, pro-democracy policies. We support free and fair elections. We support LGBT human rights. We support, healthcare access. Our ideas that are the backbone of our party are very popular. They're popular for a reason. These are the right things to do. Anybody with half a brain, which eliminates the majority of the Republican Party, both the leadership and the voters, see that. And that's why they make up only, in the real extreme parts, of maybe 15% of the adult population, and they're a minority party that's dying. And they're dying because there's no brain power over there. There's no reason for the party to even exist anymore. other than just to have historically a second viable party. It's like something that doesn't know that it's dead yet, and it's still flopping around on the ground, like a chicken with its head cut off. Is it's dead. It just doesn't know the nerve endings don't know it's dead yet, and that's the Republican Party. It is a laughingstock of American politics. And next subject is Arizona, Cochise County can't even count in this county. Apparently, they can't figure out a reason to not certify the election that happened almost a month ago. Two of the three board members are Republicans, and they refuse to even do what they call a canvass of the votes, which is basically going over and putting the final seal of approval in Cochise County in Arizona. And the only rebuttal the two Republican board members have on not certifying it yet is some kind of wackadoodle conspiracy about the voting machines. That's the best they got. They don't have any proof. They don't have any evidence. They don't say this many votes was done, after hours. They don't have literally any reason to not certify it.
So Jim, I haven't been up to date with that, and Barbara mentioned it to me. So what is it? All the counties have approved it except one. Is that it?
So the last two was, I guess, the one that houses, I believe, the Phoenix area, just finished up over the weekend. Obviously, because it's a huge fucking city and a huge fucking county, and so they just certified. And theirs was just logistics. And then Cochise County, which is also a good sized county, the board members are just refusing to certify. And so, or two of the three. So one's a Democrat, two are Republicans. And the two Republicans are refusing to even start the process of what they call in the Arizona Constitution, state constitution, the process is called canvassing the votes. And it is literally just dotting all the I's, crossing all the T's, making sure all the procedures are done. And then immediately right after that, they confirm the votes, they're certified, it's shipped up to the state capitol. And so it's they're literally just holding it up, and they have no real reason. And that's what the state officials are saying. They're saying, you've got no proof, you got no reason. Every time we ask you for a reason, you just say some wacky thing about the voting machines. And they're saying back, well, this should have been addressed a long time ago. You guys are the county chair people. This should not have come up after the election. This should have come up before if you had doubt about the voting machines. And so again, it's one of those wackadoodle, my pillow, I have evidence, but I don't have any actual evidence. Conspiracy theory. The reason Rudy Giuliani lost his law license was saying stuff like this in court. And then they said, well, that's a lie. You just perjured yourself. Obviously it's a lie. It goes along the big lie theory, of course, that, Trump won and Biden lost. It's the same, crap they've been spewing for now almost 3 years.
Is there a deadline for them to have to do that? Does it say? Or
it was the day that we filmed this. So
wow. Oh,
so yeah, today was as we're filming right now. Today by I guess 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock their time. This was the last day that they were supposed to have it all done by the 28th of November, and so literally that's why it's coming up. It's why it's being talked about on Twitter so much. Is this is your last day. So, by the time this films, and of course, there'll be all kinds of tea and accusations flying around probably in the next 2 days when this hits the air. But clearly, by the time we started filming, they still had not certified the election. And so, very bizarre. Of course, the Republican gubernatorial candidate, she was the one saying I wasn't going to concede anyway, and so you got that already. She said, I'm only going to accept me winning. and did not back up from that. She's just like many Republicans, including Republicans that ran for state secretaries of state of many states. The election deniers have uniformly lost, and Terry Lake lost. And now you got one of the counties in that state trying to hold up the election on bogus, not even an ounce of evidence, nothing. I mean, not even, hey, look at this machine, it spit out all the Democrat votes, like there's literally no basis for it other than hearsay and no scientific or legal reason whatsoever. And so it's very bizarre. It's very weird. Of course, that's the world we're in right now, is the Republicans, everything that they consider a crisis is based on nonsense, made up things. Every accusation to me is just a confession from that group of people. They literally, it's very bizarre. It's a very bizarre time to live in when you have one party that does literally nothing for American democracy whatsoever. This really is refusing to even participate. We don't want free and fair elections in a democracy. We want to be anointed. We want to declare ourselves the winner. I'm like, well, that's not democracy anymore. Probably need to move to Russia. There's a guy there that's already set that system up for himself. Like, he wins every one of his elections mysteriously. Of course, his opponents get poisoned and thrown in jail too. So there is that. But this is our first break, and we'll be right back with some more Two Queers and a Track. We are back. To go on a funner, more seasonal topic, is Black Friday even necessary anymore? And really Thanksgiving too. I mean, Thanksgiving is really a nod to our insanely racist and genocidal past. And Black Friday, it has online shopping replaced the need to even have Black Friday anymore, other than just tradition.
Who actually does Black Friday anymore? I mean,
I have it in over a decade, and I can tell you when I made the decision to opt out of that shit. And I was married still. My youngest two kids were still in elementary school, so they were pretty young. So we're still doing all the traditional Christmas stuff that you do. And where we were living, it was a tourism town that had all these really big outlet malls, and one of them was the Tanger Outlet Mall that's based in Texas. And this small tourism town we lived in, this Tanger Mall opened up at midnight on Thanksgiving night, meaning it was actually the beginning of Black Friday, technically. So they opened up right at 12:01, and it was like the field of dreams. There's friggin' cars driving for miles. Like, it's just crazy because this mall kind of sits in a little bit of a valley. So you can see the cars actually coming down the hill. And for several years in a row, I'd gotten convinced by my ex-wife to actually go to this crazy thing. And we got the babysitter for the kids, and her best friend, and her husband, came with us. And so we went. And you had to hit the stores early to get in and out fast enough, because the first hour from 12 to about 1:15 wasn't too bad. So what we would do is we would do a little reconnaissance a few days before, knowing the inventory is going to be about the same after Thanksgiving. Picked up the items we went, made a list, had our little coupons, because they had these little online coupons you could print off from the Tanger website for each of the outlet stores. And we said, we're really only going to be able to make it to 3 stores with this aggressive of a list. And so by your 4th store, if it wasn't worth buying, you were standing in line for like an hour and a half at that point. So hit our first 3 stores. And I remember the last year I participated in, we got our hauls, we got our little bags. They're all in our vehicle. And my ex wanted to go to this 4th store. And I can't remember, it was like a Banana Republic or one of those generic all-American t-shirt, Chinese goods type place. we roamed around there for a little bit, and I'd had all the fun I could handle. I had an overdose in turkey and retail therapy times 10. I was done. And I finally caught up to her in the store. She had one T-shirt in her hand. I said, we're going to stand in a line that's at least an hour deep for that T-shirt. And it was like a $3, $4 T-shirt. Regular price, because it's an outlet mall, probably $8 or $9. I said, babe, I got to be at work in the morning. I am not standing in line for one fucking T-shirt. I will come back the next day and buy it when the lines are dead, or I'll buy something similar to it, because there's about 19,000 T-shirts in here. And if you're only buying one, I'm saving $6 to stand in a hour-long line in an outlet mall in the middle of the friggin' night when I'm going to be at work in 6 hours. No spank you. Please put the T-shirt down. She threw a little bit of a fit, but then she was okay. I told her I'd get her ice cream the next night, and she loved ice cream. And so we got the hell out of there. We went home. We put all the stuff in our closet so the kids couldn't snoop, and we locked the closet, and we went to bed. And but that after that, I sent her out because she was the one that really wanted to do this. I saw absolutely no reason to be in the middle of the night shopping. I felt stupid, because it is stupid. And I'm not going to wrestle somebody for a Cabbage Patch doll or a scooter. There is no gift. And after that, we started doing more online shopping anyway, or pre-buying before Black Friday. Because believe it or not, most of the sales, you don't save a damn bit of money. I found the pre-Black Friday sales to be as good as the post and the during. And so, and I think especially post-COVID, I think it's obviously, it's not what it was, thank God. And I mean, to me, I was thinking about this today. And I know you don't shop on Black Friday. I've never heard you talk about it. You're a pretty practical person when it comes to shopping. And I just think it's idiotic. This was the only significant other I ever had that really wanted to shop on Black Friday. And before, I never did do it. I refused to do it. And I only did it for a few years in a row because she just absolutely convinced me to do it. And it was that third year in a row, just like, no mas, I'm done. I can't feel this stupid. I can't endorse this amount of stupidity. And ever since then, I've refused to do it. Absolutely. The next one is Matt Gaetz is livid and jealous of Governor DeSantis. DeSantis has pictures of when he was a teacher at a private school showing him partying with high school age girls at after-hours parties with adult beverages. And the report is basically very close to these girls. It's a very sexual and alcohol-fueled parties with all these high school. These are high school girls. Like these girls in this picture, you can tell they are young. And you got DeSantis, a younger DeSantis, with his arms all around them. Basically, like remember Gary Hart that ran for president, and he was on that ship called the Monkey Business, and had like strippers or something sitting in his lap and all this. That basically ended his campaign. Literally, this has got the same vibe, but with pedophile vibes. And so, obviously, Matt Gaetz is kicking himself going, why didn't I get my rich daddy to buy me a private high school? Like, he could be the headmaster. No pun intended. But he, literally, somewhere wherever Matt Gaetz is at, booking some flights for some 14-year-olds or something. He's going, this is freaking genius. It'd be like the happy hunting grounds for him. Like he would probably quit Congress for this, or put the academy somewhere in Washington, D.C. But
so are these pictures that were released like recently?
The first time I've seen them was today.
Okay.
And they're on the Twitterscape now, and probably, I'm sure, dug up by Republicans to keep him from being president of the United States.
Yep. I'm sure.
I'm pretty sure DeSantis isn't going to get the nomination in 2024 anyway. I think he's only a front runner in his mind, and polls about a race that's going to happen 2 years from now. Like you know, when you're a front runner 2 years out, you're not really a front runner for anything. You know,
exactly.
What can happen?
That's true.
But clearly, they are. He basically got cocaine and orgied, you know, and is getting doxxed like our friend Matty Cawthorn. And these got the same vibe. Like, he's got his arms around him. I mean, you can tell it's at a party. There's alcohol in one of the girls' hands. Like, clearly it's a bottle of beer, and their faces are fuzzied out, and you can clearly see DeSantis's face, and it's him. It's a little bit younger, a little bit thinner, but it's him. And that was always the big scuttlebutt about him, is when it's a private school. It wasn't even a public school, which says a whole bunch about him. Like, it's just really, that one picture sums him up. You know, when you're talking about grooming and the don't say gay, and I'm like, yeah, which didn't ban saying pedophile or underage girls, Shaggy, statutory rape. But, you know, it's like, you know, you just hear them talking about this shit, and you think about Boebert's, you know, pedophile, convicted sex offender husband, and you think about DeSantis and now this new pitchers deal. You think about Matt Gaetz. You think about the swinger MTG, her husband filing for divorce, you know, for various reasons. And you think about some of them, and you just go, it's always those people. It's always the people pulling it every single time. But yeah, I think if those pictures are legit, which I think they probably are, it could be the beginning of the end for our good old friend, Governor Dick Suckus. He may be staying in Florida for quite a while. Because Floridians will clearly vote for that, because, you know, it's Florida. I mean, you know.
Exactly,
We don't care if he was humping and giving alcohol to underage girls. That's not a big deal here. Just, you know, they're just glad he's not gay, you know.
Exactly.
You know, it's like he probably is, but we just don't want to know about it. You know, don't ask, don't tell, aka Lindsey Graham. But anyway, it's just wild. It's wild that the picture even surfaced, and it's wild that is the Republican Party, that this guy is the presumptive front runner in 2024, and that's their standard bearer. Is this guy is just, I mean, that gene pool and that talent pool doesn't run very deep. I mean, just, it's kind of funny. I mean, and you know, it's a Republican that held that in their little vault, waiting for him to get reelected as governor in Florida, but does not want to see him get the presidential nomination.
Mm-hmm. And it's probably one of Trump's people starting to leak stuff, you know, because remember Trump said there's a lot of dirt on him. So,
well, Trump even said, you know, I helped compete. You know, in the last election too, you know, and Trump, so you admitted to committing a felony on DeSantis' behalf, and now DeSantis owes you. That's what you're saying. You know, it gets juicier. You know, like I said in 2019, in the end, Republicans are going to do in other Republicans. And when this MAGA era starts winding to the close, is when they all just go spy versus spy and just start shooting down each other and just start ripping and shredding each other to bits. That's when we're going to see this unravel. And they'll do a clear out like they did with Reagan Bush. Like, they'll cleanse the party. They'll have a few Bob Dole type candidates, and that don't have a chance in hell of winning. And then they'll reboot again, and like a two-headed snake, another head will pop up, and we'll deal with a new generation of kookery and chicanery after all these people are in prison or laughed out of politics, and will get their own reality TV shows. Like Guess Whose Daughter I'm Dating Now, and filmed at a high school. But anyway, starring Matt Gates. But anyway, it's just kind of crazy. But this is we're up against our next break, and we'll be right back with some more Two Queers in the Truck. Hey everybody, you can catch us on your favorite audio podcast platform, Spotify, and all Apple Store, the Google machine, and whoever else does podcasts. We're on there. We broke in, and we're staying. So enjoy the Two Queers in the Truck on your favorite audio podcast platform. Thanks for listening or watching. Bye-bye. Happy pod. Hey folks, this is Jenny from Two Queers in the Truck, and I'm going to do a public service announcement basically stating that the organization that is the official organization for the Colorado shooting is called coloradogives.org. And so you can find the instructions and the way to donate, but it is the official survivor and victims fund that help to begin the healing and help carry through the expenses that comes up with a mass shooting. We appreciate your patronage and watching us every week. And if you can, please donate. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And we are back with some more Two Queers to our last two segments. I saw this really cool quote, and it was talking about what capitalism needs to exist in its current form, which basically was that we need homelessness, we need fear of loss to make capitalism the unethical capitalism that we have in the United States right now. That these billionaires need to keep people at a certain wage so they make maximum profit, that they can keep people making enough money to slightly pay their bills, but to where they don't have any independence or any upward mobility. They need a certain amount of homelessness to exist to go, that's what will happen to you if you buck our system. And, between Amazon getting busted today or when we film this, for union busting. A court ruled against them today with some penalties and some basically you can't do that anymore. Of course, we could do a whole show just on Elon Musk and how he's so wrong for capitalism and democracy. And we can go on and on about our system being controlled by these robber baron type billionaires, destroying capitalism, because I think ethical capitalism with checks and balances can certainly thrive. But when you get it to the point to where it's more like a feudal system from like the Middle Ages, where we're all serfs and peasants, and there's just a handful of people that are basically like royalty that control our system in every way, shape, and form, and keep us under their thumb in these, the fact that we're a high wealth nation, but we don't have real wealth for everybody in our democracy, that we don't have universal health care. We don't have, a lot of us can't afford to buy homes. I know I can't. I can't even sniff thinking about buying a home in the current state of the way the world works. And there's so many people in so many diverse communities that have to be eternal renters, that we're penalized for being poor, that we have a system that encourages our poverty. And it is both, in a way, it's defeating capitalism, because the more safe people are, the more the country will grow, like it did right after World War II when we had all these government programs, all the socialism come out. We did it for the veterans returning. Like, veterans got everything. They got free college, they got free this, they got specialty loan programs so they could all come back and do the American dream, which was buying a house, having health insurance, having access to education and all that. Because we've got an unstable, battered up generation of people. And if we want people to buy homes, have babies, and all this, we got to create the infrastructure for this, with them returning back from the atrocities of war. Perfect plan. We need that whole plan back in effect. We just don't need the war, and we literally need something that is actually America first, unlike what the whack jobs come to America first, which is actually putting the religion centered and turning us into basically another version of Iran, which we all see what's going on in Iran, should scare us. That's where the Republicans want us to go. And where we need to go is where Truman and Eisenhower put us, which was building America and building, businesses and governments working together and making a phenomenal democracy and an economy. And you need your people to be whole to run an economy. And it's so bizarre that these billionaires don't want to see it. They want absolute control, like the pharaohs of Egypt. Just want to whip us until we keep building those pyramids for them to die in. And it's just bizarre. It's like we go, okay, when is it enough? When does it stop making sense? Do we need 80 million people without insurance? Do we need 90 million? Do we need 10 million homeless, 15 million? I said this in last week's show about the death count, the body count of mass shootings. Like, what's the number that the Republican Party comes to the table and says, okay, we fucked up. we need to have some kind of solution. This isn't going to work anymore. And I say the same thing about the structure of our society when you're talking about capitalism and investing into Americans. It's like, okay, if you're American first and you clearly see that we need to invest into Americans, that should be the next step when you say Americans first. As I'm totally for Americans first, but I'm totally not in favor of investing into the 1%.
But Jenny, they aren't really for America first. They say America first, but it's and I know us saying it all the time just sounds so. I don't know what it's just. They really want white Americans first. Right. I mean, it is so, and every time we keep thinking, well, how can they just be so blatant? They're so willing to vote against their best interest, even if it hurts them.
Which it does.
Just so that way that those people, as long as they can keep sticking it to those people, they're fine. It's the weirdest thing.
All those people working for those billionaires, those self-made billionaires, which you can't be a billionaire and be self-made. It's very bizarre. It's a very bizarre mentality that actually restricts our economy. It makes it. That's why a lot of developing nations struggle to be a high wealth nation. Is that mentality? Is they've battered their people so much that at some point they just go, what are they going to do? Eat me? You see this in so many developing nations where people just quit. They go, okay, I'm down to nothing. There's nothing left for you to take from me. And I think when you talk about all, the silent quitting and all this stuff, I think there's some truth to silent quitting, but I think it's more like people just opting out and just saying, I'm going to work the minimum I can. I'm going to move in with 5 of my best friends and we're going to all rent this house. We're going to have 6 adults living in a 3-bedroom house so that we can afford the rent. And I think I know tons of friends. I've got tons of friends that live in that kind of situation where they are overcrowded in this house and people that are really, they're homeless, but they're not because they're couch surfing and stacked, 1 or 2 people to the room and just living in the communes. And it's gotten to that point, or they're functionally homeless and they're bouncing from house to house or living on the streets, which is very, very bizarre. But our last topic is, and this is something I always say, is that everybody is at least 1% queer. Whether it is genderqueer, because they don't confine to gender norms, or they've got a same sex, same gender celebrity crush. Like, a guy saying, I wouldn't sleep with any man, but if Jason Momoa came up to me, or, some stud football player, or, whatever, yeah, I probably would sleep with him. Okay, I've got a hall pass from my girlfriend and my wife that if, whoever, Tom Brady comes up to me and says, I want you to sleep with me and have crazy gay sex for one night because I have a crush on you. That I think everybody has a little bit of queerness in them, whether they want to admit it or not. And I saw it pop up on a Twitter discussion. Somebody posted that everybody's a little bit queer. And I space some of this on the fact that I think so many of the people that post on our page I don't know if it's this weird love, hate, but I think a lot of these guys, including our little friend today that couldn't spell coffee, I pointed out to us, you served in the Navy and you worked in the oil field, which has tons of closeted gay men in both of those fields. In fact, he was a pipe fitter in the oil field. And he was in the Navy before that. I'm like, nothing screams closet case more than that. And the fact that he was infatuated with us so much, he started on the Two Queers page and then navigated over to our other page.
Yeah.
Says a lot about him.
Mm-hmm.
That you're so obsessed about us. And, it's but I've noticed a lot of conservative men really obsess about gay people.
They're
to
big
the
sissies.
point where you go, I'd never think about obsessing about straight people.
Yeah, but then we talk about that all the time. They're the biggest sissies.
Oh,
I mean, they are so sissified. They're just like
big old queens.
They're just drama.
But
it's just crazy.
But I think it confirms the theory of queerness, and it's a very, not to go to a trope, but almost like a gossipy, spilling the tea, housewife, Southern sissy
exactly
deal. Yeah. That in the down low they watch a lot of BBC porn and trans porn and gay porn and lesbian porn, and you still go to church on Sundays, still vote for Republicans, still one moment they're flying their big old sissy flags for guns and Trump and Jesus Christ and football and all this kind of crazy stuff, and then the next minute obsessing over gay people and gay events. I'm like, you never see LGBT people going, I really want to go there and obsess about, foosball or something that's more identified with the mainstream, straight community. Like, I don't want to go to a straight pub, a sports bar. I just sit there and obsess about them, and go and interrupt them or think violent thoughts about them. I'm like, yeah, I mean, to me, I'm like, I don't care about their sex life. I don't care that they have this straight lifestyle. I don't even think about it. It doesn't matter to me. I could care less what Donald Trump does in his bedroom. In fact, I try not to think about Donald Trump naked, unless, of course, I want to lose weight and I start to put my plate in the microwave. I think about Trump naked and I lose my appetite. And I was going, yep, I see why Melania sleeps in a different room. And I'm like, oh, and the whole creepy family. And so for me, I don't get it. I don't understand the straight obsession with us. Unless there's a little bit of queerness in you. And you're a big old queen and you can't let it go.
You're exactly right, Jen. The fact that these guys, and when you see them on the news or whatever, their guns and their outfits, and they're covering their face at these drag shows protesting, it's like, man, I wouldn't. I mean, it takes, like we just finished talking about how we wouldn't do Black Friday because it's so annoying. It takes a lot of effort for someone to actually get dressed, meet their bros, go stand out in front of a drag show. That takes a lot of time and effort instead of just being with their family or their girlfriend or boyfriend, whatever.
Yeah.
It's bizarre.
And I think part of the ways that they cover their face is that they know there's a lot of queers inside that drag audience. And if they look out that
window, hey, girl.
Hey, that's Earl off Grindr. Like, I just gave him a handy the other day. You know, we met up in his, his El Camino with the AstroTurf in the back. And, or that van down by the river. And, it's like I wonder if they're trying to protect the guilty. Like, they're saying, I can't see my face because I know there's at least 2 guys I've slept with inside that bar. And if they see me, they're not going to forget an asshole. And I got to cover my big old queen face. But I do want to peep in there for just a second.
Exactly.
I want to go see what they're doing. Because I don't want to see him with another bitch.
That's really why they're there.
And it's really, really bizarre. It's really bizarre how they'll go to a Starbucks with a big old rifle strapped on their back. It's just so performative. It's so, like you said, just big old queens. Like, just, like, I know some gay men that I know they're big old queens, but they got nothing on the Proud Boys.
Yeah.
And their weird little matching outfits. And, it's like those guys, like Dirty Santa and all those people that were protesting when the RNC was here. They had their little Army Navy surplus fatigues on and these little plastic looking belts that had all these different little pouches that you would use maybe in the Boy Scouts or the Cub Scouts. Yeah. And they looked like just overgrown Cub Scouts that forgot they're middle-aged and sloppy looking. Like they need somebody to dress them. I'm like, if you're going to wear a big old princess uniform, you need to at least make it look good. Like, I don't know.
Exactly.
Like don't look like you just jumped out of a garage sale, and take a shower too. Like they didn't smell good at all. Like the wind shifted on me. That was the only bad part of Dirty Santa and all them was when that wind shifted. But anyway, that is our last segment of the show. We tried to keep it kind of funny this week, and my boo over here is struggling a little bit. So little too much Thanksgiving, a little bit too many foosball games, and just a whole lot of chicanery. Probably should have went to a Black Friday sale. But we're going to leave on some Unstoppable because our community is unstoppable. I hope everybody has a big old gay holiday season. Bye, Boo.
Bye, Boo.
Hey, y'all. Thanks for watching Two Queers in a Truck and hanging in with us. And we'll see you next week. It'll be the first week of December. Y'all be safe out there. There's a lot of crazies. Have a great week. Bye. Hey, y'all. Thanks for watching Two Queers in a Truck and hanging in with us. And we'll see you next week. It'll be the first week of December. Y'all be safe out there. There's a lot of crazies. Have a great week. Bye.